Welcome to CITAM Church Online. It feels like it's been a while. So today, I'm glad to be back and we're talking about fatherhood. We're talking about super dads. And to help us in this conversation is a friend of mine who, whenever I hear him talking about his dad, sounds like he had a super dad. And we'll be diving right into that in a bit. He's a friend of mine, as I've mentioned, and he is a coach. And so help me welcome Kyama Mutui. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Yes, glad to have you on CCO.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Yes, as we talk about super dads. So let's dive right in. I've heard you a number of times talking about your dad, and it sounds like he was this towering figure, super dad. Apo, let's start right there.
Maybe you can expound more on what a super dad is, because everyone thinks their father is a super dad. So
Yes. So a super dad for me is someone who's present, and he's present in the lives of the children, and he does his best to be present with them in the good times, the bad times, plays with them. He's right there. Yeah.
Okay. Then in that context, my dad was, I can't say he was absent for sure, but I think he was very present, because he was someone who loved God, and he was very active in church. But he was active up to the extent where it interfered with the time with us as the kids and his wife. So you'd find that he would be maybe in church leadership, but maybe wouldn't be in all ministries.
Okay.
So maybe at that time, there was a time he was an usher also. So you see, an usher is easier because it's during service, all of us are here.
Yep.
But let's say if he was in, when he was in marriage ministry, then he dropped any other service that he was doing, so that the time outside that he can be able to hang out with us and things like that. And an interesting way he also did it is, sometimes when he'd go for work, he'd call us and tell me, hebu kuja nipeleke mahali. So that taking me somewhere, like sometimes you don't have to look for special time outside, because those special times never come. And the memories that you always remember will always be in those what you'd quote unquote call dead time. Time where you think we're just doing the normal thing. So he'd be alive. Those days, I guess phones were not very prevalent. But also, I remember us watching TV would watch TV for sure. Football is where maybe we'd watch for long. But anything outside that, like eating, would eat when the TV switched off, would sit at the table. He would make times we used to have family meetings. Would have family meetings. He made sure every year we went for a holiday somewhere. And I came to later realize most of them, but by the time we were going, it was really a miracle. It's not like he had the money. So, you know, as a child, you think, kona do tu amepangia tu December. So up when I started knowing the miracles that would come through, like the sacrifices that we would get. So I think that was good. And then he would be all our school events, for example, parent, teachers, whatever. It was always my parents. It was my mom or my dad. And most times my dad. My dad is the one who took lead, like picking us from school, dropping us to school. That's when
on a daily basis.
On a daily basis. Even in high school, he didn't have to drop us. I mean, we could take a matatu, because in the evening we'd come back by matatu, but he'd make sure he'd drop us. And in those times we'd have conversations, different things. Football is one thing that really helped us to be present. My first time ever going to a stadium was with my dad.
Wow.
It's the first time I ever got
Which stadium? City Stadium?
City Stadium. Stadium. Kasarani is where we went a lot, because most times it was watch Harambee Stars. So yeah, he was really present.
So Kyama, those who may not know that you are a coach and you're inspirational, you're motivational, and you do a lot of other things, and we'll hear about that. They'd be like, okay, you're talking about your dad in past tense. So walk us through that if you can, and then we'll pick it up in our next video. We want to talk a lot about what does it mean to be a super dad. So
14 and a half years ago, 2008 in August, My parents had gone for an outside of town trip, and on their way back, as the eldest, I'm the one who always used to wait up for them. I used to find it exciting. I don't know why, but yeah. So as I was waiting for them, I got a call from my cousin whom they had taken. I think it was a traditional function, and because it was far, they hired a matatu where we couldn't all of us go. Then on their way back, they got an accident. I rushed and met them in Naivasha, so but I managed to get the ambulance, but although it took a while for it to come. Then my dad went into surgery. My mom went into surgery first, my dad into surgery also, but my dad passed now the following day. So this was a Saturday when the accident happened. The following day on a Sunday at 1 o'clock, around 1 o'clock, my dad left us.
Wow, and that's obviously heavy moments, tough moments. What would you say to someone who's watching and they read the title Super Dad and they're in a similar situation? Their dad was present but now absent. What words of challenge or encouragement would you say to them?
I would say the greatest inheritance, because of course after death, everything people think about is inheritance. The greatest inheritance a super dad can give you is the values. It's the values and the faith. Like for me, the faith of my parents carried me for a long time until I had to challenge myself and ask myself what helped them through their tough times also. And now turns back to the values. It's the values that they imparted me that were able to help me throughout till today. So I think the values matter more than money and everything, because I've realized in seasons like that, when you're grieving, people don't also understand how to help you sometimes and everything. There's no amount of money you can't squander. But sometimes you want, when you come out of that abyss, what do you have to hold to? If it's only money, but your dad was not there, I mean, what will you do with that? But the values, the stories you remember, the small wisdom nuggets that they used to tell you, those are the things that in the critical moments, they help you. And in the good times when you remember them, they give you a lot of joy and warm your heart.
Wow. This is only the start of the conversation, and so we want to continue the conversation in our next video. Join us again next week as we carry forward the conversation, some amazing nuggets on values, the things that our fathers give to us. Sometimes they're in the ordinary moments of life. And I'd love to hear from you. What is a super dad to you? Would you just go to the comment section, share with us what that is all about, and we'll pick it up next week. You've been watching CITAM Church Online, and thanks for being part of our conversation.